Yes? What about me? What? This? It's just seasonal clothing. Where is this going? Interesting. I think it's called a brain.
It's no mere brain.
Okay, art cup. I do not harbor a sentiment for revolutionary air brigades in particular. Okay, I wanted to become an aerostatic pilot. Then I turned 10 and realized we no longer have an air force. Absolutely nothing.
The revolutionary must have added a little luster to it for a 10-year-old Kitsuragi. He will never admit it, though.
I've noticed. And okay, the revolution employed a more forward-looking 8-rotor design. Their blades were foldable and their pilots were better trained and motivated. I see this from a purely tactical standpoint, of course. Good. Good. Let's change.
The worn map features the patchwork grid. Your finger moves through the finally coming.
For a more detailed view of the map, go to your journal and select the Map tab.
can I help you?
What is this thing?
What, the interior decorating kind? You know, I'm sorry. This is actually a nice bird. A competent piece of taxidermy. I can fix it to the plaque and have a new bird in the establishment, I guess? So, I don't know. Thank you. I'm gonna go with thank you.
I feel good about our work here today. It's all about the little things, like bringing people random stuffed animals.
It's not actually about that, but he liked it.
Absolutely out of the question.
Your body is ready, sire.
It's great to see you again, officer. My wife can't wait to thank you. Go on, talk to her.
Oh, sweetie, I don't even know how to thank you for finding my husband and helping him out. I hope we haven't been too much trouble for you.
I knew it.
Well, in that case, sweetie, let me give you a small token of my gratitude. It's a tie, Mesk in origin. The pin is an antique, quite special to the cryptozoologists.
The little silvery knob holding the tie together feels warm in your hand. It's in the shape of an avian skull with 8 eyes. You could ask her about this when you get the time. It's probably a cryptid, but the phasmid, of course, is more important.
Oh, you don't want to hear about some old...
Ramblings? Nonsense. Your description of the phasmid is the most precise I've ever heard.
But, darling, I didn't even get the size of it right.
You were a child, my dear. Really. It's extraordinary what you were able to describe.
Reflexively, the lieutenant read is familiar.
Well, it was summer. I was building a racing track out of sand on the beach near a tall stand of reeds. Quite a tall one. Many times my height, I remember. When, all of a sudden... I'm getting ahead of myself. I was 5.5 in Betancourt in the suburbs. My grandmother had a summer home there.
Betancourt got bombed in the war. It used to be quite near, circa 20 kilometers from here.
The strangest moment of my life. I looked up and one of the reeds moved. Not like a plant, but like a living thing. It stood up and looked at me. Its body unfolded like some antique toy. I've never seen anything like it. I didn't know this can happen, so I reached my arm and touched the thing. It felt just like a stalk of reed, but it moved, swaying, towering above me. After a while, 20 seconds, a minute maybe, it left. I tried, but I was only a child. There was mud and high water. I couldn't see it anymore. I was just standing there, knee-deep in mud, looking around. Reeds could walk, and told her they were looking at me. Of course, she just laughed at me, but I knew what I'd seen. For years, it was a story I told at parties when I wanted to impress boys. That sort of thing. Of course, most people just took it as a strange, amusing anecdote. So did I, honestly. But then I met Morel.
We were on a date. Can you imagine? She tells me a story, and it's the most detailed report of the Insulindian phasmid I've ever heard. The sounds. She told me it hissed.
It did, yes. Like reeds in a gust of wind.
The way it moved, the colour. How some of its limbs were white, like marble. It matched perfectly with what I know from other accounts. It was amazing. If it weren't for Lena, I might have given up hope years ago. It's no exaggeration to say that she restored my faith in my profession.
I thought it was a wonderful story, ma'am.
Our first, yes.
The glance is tender, yes, but tempered by something else. A thought she can't express.
Not all of them. There is some white coloration reported, along with beige, where the camouflage ends.
It's hard to say how big things are when you're quite small yourself. To me, it seemed to be taller than I was then, but that's probably not the case. You're welcome, sweetie. I do appreciate.
What have you found? And also, do buy the books. There may be teachings in them. A novelty dice maker? Well, spit it out. Why does she need the dice? For some kind of sorcery? Sometimes they use the ankle bones of sheep. I don't understand. If it's not her, then where is the source of the doom? How did she explain the curse?
The narrative she's built herself, it does need tearing down. She's squeezing on the pendant too tight. A drop of blood in her palm. Just don't say you don't have any answer yet. To hell with it. Perchance you ought to just lie, sire.
Too many inconsistencies. What kind of talk is that?
Good luck persuading her. Some people can rationalize anything.
Yes, because her business consists of the psychic leech that's been feeding the curse. I see that you've fallen for her manipulation, Detective. The investigation is over. I just hope that you haven't made anything. Thank you for nothing. Please, do buy some books, or be on your way.
There was never any other way this could have gone.
I am sorry we had to disappoint you, ma'am. Can we go now?
Hi, Ace Detective. Are you here for more books?
The tear machine stands in the... Your bottles clunk into the machine, and the money appears with a satisfying jingle. You're a richer man now. You see several packaged raincoats fill a low shelf beneath a display of croissants and juice bottles. The raincoats are transparent, except for the big Fritta slogan on the back.
Right to work! Right to work!
Before the cargo container. Its drawer has not lessened since you were last here. If anything, it seems to have grown slightly. Despite the dirt that surrounds and trails you, a beacon of light emerges from deep within. The door stands silent.
Satisfied, detective?
Try again. Just like that, you hear a click, then a rattle. Some mechanism unlocks itself inside.
Ahoy! Come on in!
You can't be serious.
Stands at the far end of the shipping container. It's hard to say anything more about him. You cannot make out any of his details, but you do feel the overwhelming presence of capital. The feeling causes all the hairs on your body to stand at attention, like soldiers preparing for review. Something's amiss. The light beams bend around his face and scatter in 1,000 directions. It seems the laws of physics do not apply here. They are suspended, distorted, and trying to visualize the physics at play is liable to give you in the general stillness. Only your tongue moves.
Welcome. Come in. Make yourself at home. Sorry, I'm not better able to receive you. I wasn't expecting...
You can't hear him exactly, yet you're able to understand every word he says. It is very strange.
Now, what can I do for you, gentlemen? Who am I? Oh, I haven't been asked that question for such a long time. I don't meet a lot of people outside my circle these days. Anyhow, my name is Rustam Theodore, investor, license holder, and extremely high net worth individual. And you are?
Mr. Theodore, I am Lieutenant Kim Kitsuragi of the RCM, and this is my partner.
Pleasure to meet you, Raphael. I'm surprised in a positive manner, to understand, about your exceedingly high net worth name.
It is not. Never mind.
Oh, don't you worry, Lieutenant. I can tell a good man when I see one.
Oh Lord, not this again. Oh, nothing. It's just that we've got this murder to solve, and yet you go around asking everyone about money. And every time I ask, are you sure this is related to the case, you say, sure, Kim, I think it is. And yet, it never seems to get us any closer to solving the case.
It's quite alright. I'm used to the question by now. To be blunt, I inherited my fortune from my grandmother, who herself was an extremely high net worth individual back in Grad. All I did was take her fortune and invest it prudently. Believe it or not, it takes more than a bit of skill not to blow a vast fortune on sailing boats, bad choices, and unsupervised state policy.
Actually, at the level this guy is, it takes several generations to do that. But, alright.
I gotta tell you, at first, being rich is a lot of work. You've got to work hard because everything's so darn expensive. You know, prices increase exponentially at this income level. But then, once you've reached my position, it's nearly impossible for me not to make money. My assets are so diversified that I'm bound to come out ahead. No, some of my lower net worth friends say to me, but doesn't that take all the fun out of it? And I tell them, not really. Sure, and they benefit when I buy things to stimulate the economy. Do you know how many jobs it takes to build and maintain a racing yacht? Dozens, at least. Of course, in the future it will all be automated. But my point is this. Every man gets what he earns. It's the height of tyranny to take that from him. Not blinds like the sun that rises from beyond the horizon after a gloomy winter.
Hey, all this talk about money has made you lose the thread. What is going on with the light in this place? That's what you need to ask him about.
Could you please stop asking people for money? It does not reflect well on the RCM, and to be perfectly frank, we can't afford to look worse than we already do.
It's perfectly alright. Based on your appearance, I can tell I'm dealing with a smart man. As you may know, us high net worth individuals don't have a lot of cash on hand. Investments and liquidity are enemies of one another. I think I only have coins for coffee machines. Here's 3 real. How much can you get for this? You're welcome. You know, maybe you can make that money grow. Come up with an investment plan. How's that sound? What do you mean? Are you talking about my chin? Oh, that's what you mean. Yes, I've heard of this effect, though I've never witnessed it myself, of course. It has something to do with our Weiss-Wiesemann coefficient.
The Weiss-Wiesemann coefficient is a ratio designed to reflect the difference in net worth between individuals. When the coefficient is close to 1, or 100%, it means one person possesses all the net worth. Among that group of individuals, it's been observed that when the Weiss-Wiesemann coefficient reaches about 0.96 or so, the laws of physics begin to bend around the high net worth individual. The Weiss-Wiesemann coefficient for you and this individual appears to be 0.9998, repeating. That's not good for you.
Among other things. But calm down. I'm but a lowly single-digit billionaire. No, not really. They're actually quite...
I see nothing of the sort. To be frank, all I see is a gentleman who's unusually well dressed for Martinez, in a cargo container, which I admit is odd.
Yes, I imagine that does look strange to you. My container. Traveling. This is a great way to get around. It's fun, it's safe, and it gives me lots of time to think. By the way, let me now ask you a question.
In the very, very early days of colonizing this archipelago, the kingdom of Surens, a precursor of a modern Sur-le-Clay, used to own the city of Revachol, an obscure detail in the bigger picture, but still worth dropping.
Was it Krasmazov that said, religion is parolidon for the masses? He may have been a commoner, but we're in agreement about that. Still, I imagine the architecture is quite lovely. It's a shame I can't get out and explore myself. One of the downsides of being an extremely high net worth individual is that mobs of low net worth individuals are constantly banding together to ask for money. There simply aren't enough hours a day to hand out all the handouts. It's like feeding seagulls. There are always more, and they never seem to do anything interesting with it, except more seagulls. Spending money is a matter of desire. I'm sure you agree. I don't have the desire for spending it like that. Smart, no? It also provides a means to hide from all the targeted advertising where extremely high net worth individuals are constantly subjected to luxury yachts, high fidelity portable radio systems, bail-proof outerwear, and so on. It just gets a bit middle class after a while. A bit bourgeois. What? No, I did not say that at all. Being rich is great. Just don't tell anyone I told you that. Thanks for stopping by. If you ever have an idea you want to pitch me,
This is the night watchman. The worn and beaten wooden plank.
We can sit on benches after we've solved the murder.
You can revisit the bench if you ever need to pass the time when Lieutenant Kid...
Yes?
You hear someone walking around inside. The walking stops abruptly, but a poor communard from the looks of it. The room is barely bigger than a closet.
Do I have to open the door? Do you have a warrant? I'm not obligated to open the door if you don't have a warrant.
Let's go. We don't have a reason.
It's generally easier to do things if you have literally any. Ruination has come. The broken arches betray the once grand history of this building. It towered over the harbor until a great force from the northeast fired into the city. Heavy artillery shelled the coastline, fired from the water. The tenement acted as a defensive wall against the worst of the shelling until it was destroyed, and they had a direct firing line. The wind blows through your hair. The sea breeze cuts around you, high on the balcony as you stare over the edge at the sea. The waves of the Martinez Inlet roll over the fallen remains of the building. The dark waters obscure the better part of the... What didn't fall into the ocean was used as scrap. What wasn't used as scrap was thrown into the ocean. Those arches acted as support for something greater than what you see now. Only 3 stories stand where 9 to 12 once did. Restoration has failed. What the shelling took out was never rebuilt. Underwater, iron helmets have sunk deep into the sand and the mud. Helmets of soldiers, and their finger bones too, and clavicles. A fleet, the combined armies of Occident and Grad, with Mesk volunteers, a 5-nation army, hundreds of vessels. They massed airships further down in the Bay of Revachol. The artillery was so powerful. The ships not only required gyroscopic stabilization, many are still there to this day. If you squint, you can just barely see the shadow on the water, far in the northeast. Cannons still ready to placate a man staring out to sea, mere feet from fatality. From a guest on the balcony of the Whirling in Rags, the chill is bracing. The salt...
Have you come to admire my mural? Ooh, not only have you found my address. Right now, I'm doing nothing at all. Yes, I keep hoping a shaft will collapse on me, but somehow it never happens. Does anyone in a city like this? Shoot, Piggy. It's what you do, isn't it?
It's the ledger you found in the trash. A cabbage of paper. The library card is folded into 2 and still slightly wet to the... Billy is a unisex name. Could be...
You're back.
Good. What can I help you with?
Hello again, esteemed officer, and welcome to Crime, Romance, and Biographies of Famous People. Hello again, esteemed officer, and welcome. Goodness, you were already doing good, browsing the shelves. Why'd you stop? Don't you feel compelled? Everything is on the shelves.
She's attempting to mentally direct you towards the shelves. She only wants you to buy the goods. She doesn't care about the books.
Everything is on the shelves.
She's attempting...
Truth be told, not really. My sister brings in most of the goods. I'm sure it's all very literary stuff with well-written prose, but you don't learn about the important things in life from fabricated stories. I provide a valuable service. As long as people buy books, I'm fine. The truth is available if you just know where to look.
She smiles and nods. The barbell waits patiently on the floor, like a dog for its master. The barbell waits patiently on the floor, like a dog for its master. You managed to... Maybe it wasn't such a good idea to smash through that back door.
Proper weightlifting gloves would definitely afford a better grip.
The barbell waits patiently on the floor, like a dog for its master. Conjuring up an inhuman amount of strength, you raise the barbell up in the air. Your biceps tremble, but you're a savage. This is a children's game. A warm wave of accomplishment washes over your head as you drop the barbell to the floor. For a moment, it feels like you're strong enough to succeed at anything you ever set your mind to.
Good technique.
Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a die? I'm listening. Good. I hope it clarifies.
Looks like someone tried to reconceptualize their business here. Look, the skis and rotor blades both bear the same slipstream logo. It seems likely that they started out making one, failed to turn a profit, and then pivoted to producing the other. That's a good question. Reality is this old fight. The whole thing resembles Kate. The bear's eyes are still glowing red. This orange machine is buzzing like an old submarine. It has a hand-cranked ice. Turning the crank feels oddly satisfying. Turning the crank feels... You slip your fingers under. No. This is going to need something else. Some kind of soup.
I have a pry bar in my kinema, in case you want to try again. Though it might be that my pry bar isn't strong enough for that lead.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and a metallic drawer slides out from under the seat. The pry bar feels nice and cold in your hand, heavier than you'd think. Useful for opening all sorts of... The pull-out toolbox slides back. A metallic drawer slides out from under the seat, and the pull-out toolbox slides back into its nest. Preheater gauge casts a warm glow on the steering levers and the radio on its hook. A metal payphone under a yellow plastic dome. You could use... You hear the tone. The machine is inoperable. Calling. Still calling. This feels wrong. End of tone.
Pierre, is that you, Pierre? nice of you to find the time to call me. It gets so lonely. Even the animals have died. Are you sure you're Pierre? Your voice, it's different. There. Chrysanthemum.
Her voice is drowned in... You get a sinking feeling. It makes you... There's some tear, an empty cigarette. Heavy wooden doors, more than twice your height. Nothing happens, only the sound of the padlock.
I don't think that's good.
High above, the wind wraps the church. The doors remain unchanged. This cheap-looking, it'll be easier to break the staple than the lock. Also, that sticker is interesting, somehow. The padlock passes through a staple that's been hastily attached to the wood. Closer inspection reveals that one of the screws is not a screw at all, but a nail. Should you want to get through, it might be easier to...
Maybe we should circle the building first and look for another way. The building has seen enough mistreatment.
A shaggy-looking girl, in her late teens or early 20s, kneels on the ice with an electronic contraption in her hand. Hearing you approach, she looks up.
Oh. Hello there.
Everyone knows drugs make you invulnerable to cold. You bet this one likes to party.
Huh? So should you. Oh, I didn't notice that. Yeah, well... Look, man, fuck the hat. I'm sorry I said fuck the hat. I was concentrating on something else. My whole family swears and it rubbed off on me. This is a portable recording device. It's for field recording. Low quality, but still. Actually, just one wire. I picked on it till the braiding came loose. The wire leads to a contact microphone. A contact mic records sounds from inside things, like this ice.
Your mangled brain would like you to know there is a boxer called Contact Mike. No idea.
Yeah, I record stuff with it. No. This is a contact microphone. It's for recording inside solid objects. Contact mic just beats people up. Same place I got the recorder from, the Elysium. Oh man, you haven't been to the Elysium? It's the coolest place in this whole drug-addled shithole. It's a music club and a synthesizer workshop on Boogie Street in Jamrock. Musicians live there, like real musicians. I once saw Arno van Eyck. Oh yeah, guess you wouldn't know Van Eyck, or really be a Elysium going kind of person. Yes? Okay. Recording, I guess. I think I'm recording cracks in the ice, but there's no way to tell. Not without headphones. I think I just recorded your footsteps too. Not sure how that will sound. The musicians in the Elysium use them for making music. They loop the stuff, cutting the tapes together. They make music out of cracks in the ice and keys jangling. Anyway, I thought I'd make some too. It's supposed to be, like, a music place I don't really know what I'm doing. They use synthesizers too.
The sharp drop in endorphins is almost visible, like a warm blanket has fallen off her shoulders.
Take this, you're cold.
No, man, fuck that, I'm cool. I'm sorry I said that. I'm sorry about the fuck.
It's okay.
Thanks. That? The boys think it could be a place, like the Elysium or something. Stupid. It's really... Yeah. Andre and the guys, they're inside, in the tent.
And why is that?
They got too much stuff crammed in there. Music stuff, mostly. Like this tape recorder, but bigger. And there's piles of it. That stuff is more expensive than I am. More expensive than any of us, really. Doesn't matter. Go ahead. Okay.
The tent is just tarpaulin fabric covering a pile of stuff. The flap is open. Inside, 3 young men, all in forward-looking apparel, reminiscent of the sticker on the padlock, are listening to some new form of music.
Come on! Get in and close the flap behind you. The warm stuff's getting out. Sorry, we barely have room for one.
You go ahead. I'm too old for this.
I'm actually not, he thinks. I just dislike delinquents.
I'm sure you will feel right at home. I'll keep watch.
You see a youngish man bleaching the tips of his hair with a toothbrush. He puts the toothbrush down and extends his hand in greeting.
Hello, I'm Andre. It's a pleasure to meet you.
His grip is strong, sweaty, and warm.
This is my posse, Noid.
The young man with earrings looks at you suspiciously.
An egghead. Egg! Together with a Settle Burger, who's out there right now, doing some seriously progressive sonic experimentation, we like to think of ourselves as music venue organisers. We have many in the pipeline, officer.
That means they haven't set up a single...
You see, we've been all over Jamrock North, prospecting for real estate to establish a new venue in.
Honest for talent.
Yeah, thank you, Egghead. And while there is no shortage of raw, unfettered talent spinning tapes in Jamrock, we've had rotten luck with the real estate part.
Place is a shithole.
I apologise for my friend Noid's potty mouth. I realise this is not how you speak to a police officer. He has authority issues.
I will, lawman.
Which brings me to the problem of occupied ecclesiastical property. I bet you've noticed the derelict hive of narcomania on the coast.
An attempt to pander to your perceived conservative sensibilities. No person his age would ever use a word like narcomania.
I'm talking about the church, and I'm not exaggerating. Even a place of spiritual refuge can become a magnet for all sorts of dopeheads and burnouts if left unattended.
Dopeheads! Burnouts!
Well, I'm sad to say, that's exactly what happened. Sad because we were just about to put Martinez on the map with one of the maddest dance clubs in Jamrock. Nah, strike that. In Revachol.
Strike that! The world!
And sadder yet, because the dopeheads and burnouts hold up in there are the worst kind.
He leans back a little, watching you with a steady, serious gaze. Good. This calls for an opinion. You're an expert in those.
They're spooky. I was hoping you would be the judge of that, officer. All I can say is, their spookiness is the kind that keeps us from restoring this church into a community centre. Also, they don't eat or clean the building. Shit's gonna collapse. People just want to spin tapes without them spooking it up. Place has bad signs. No one can dance like that. Thank you, Egghead. So you're gonna look into it, right? It should be a police matter. Getting them out. Whatever spooky stuff they're doing, I'm sure it's not what the Ecclesiastes meant their property for. All right, man. Yes, I asked Noy to install a measure against more drifters wandering in. It's a temporary fix, just something to contain the situation. I had to do it in an hurry. Not my best work, but it should hold for a while. Not long, like a week maybe? I'm super sure they're alive. I mean, come on. I'm at least 90%, maybe 85% sure they're still alive.
Somewhere in the ruinous past that led you here, there was something called exams. You may have learned the term involuntary manslaughter there.
Yes, I do. I listen to Channel 8 all the time. I know about crime stuff, and I assure you, officer, this is not what's happening here. I'm at least 80% sure they're alive. I mean, come on. Most people aren't ever that alive in their entire lives. I don't know. Oh, yeah. You're right. It is nonsense. Total garbage.
It feels good to be the smart cop, doesn't it? That's a good cop to be.
Oh, okay. I won't do that anymore. Of course. Noid. Only if he promises to look into the Officer, I apologise. Noid doesn't always understand the joy of giving for the sake of giving.
A pincer maneuver. Damn it. Take it. Don't you just want to see what's in there?
Brilliant! Noid, the key! All right.
You sense the trajectory of the little piece of metal and plastic. The object makes a small ringing sound as it approaches. Just the tiniest chime to your left. Ka-ching! The key hits your palm. The speed freaks nod to you approvingly. The speed freak nods to you. A respectful nod.
Sure, man. Tell us what you want to know. Let's do it. Oh yeah, that's a Meteoran name for the founding party. Thought it'd be cool to use it.
If you don't know what the founding party is, there might be a way to mask it with minor demagoguery.
Come to think of it, I've never really looked them up, you know. I can't give you a precise definition, but they're a very powerful religious organisation, and they have roots in ancient mass society. And they're the custodians of the Pericanassian Church. Plus, they anoint the innocents. They, like, made the innocentic system, no? You're totally wrong about that.
The Pericarnassian Church is about love, and Nordic music is about love. I got love for my Pericarnassian posse. Love is the relay out of death. We dance! Love is hardcore!
Unity! Unity!
Make some noise for my Insulindian posse!
You feel it, the anodes and the cathodes coursing through you. Your big toe starts tapping along to the base, as if testing the waters. Feels good.
Oh yeah!
He's coming around! You're getting it!
Your posse's like your people, man! Like you got your cup posse, you look out for each other and you party together! That's a posse!
And where is your posse, detective? Nothing comes to you. The world is silent.
Are we?
Yeah!
That's pretty downbeat. I think I speak for all of us when I say we expected the law to be more open to the idea of love, unity, and the Pericarnassian posse. Yeah, I know you don't. So, you got more questions?
The one with the large head is still looking at you, nodding his head. Wait.
Truth is, I don't really know. None of us do. I don't even know how many there are. All we've seen are glimpses. Well, there's also the machinery. When I first scouted the place, back in February, it was abandoned, empty. Took some...
One of them has wires running into bowls of water. Wires into water.
Andre!
Oh, and it felt like there was something in there with us, watching us from the dark.
No! The other one!
Which other one?
Felt like silence. Awful silence.
Not exactly. We've just seen someone who we think is a woman go in and out of the church. A couple of times. And we felt someone, or something, eyeing us inside. But that's kinda it. Like you aren't alone, you know?
It wasn't quite human, if you know what I mean.
Not human? As in a ghost? Do you know what he means?
It was this dark shape climbing upside down along the ceiling, like some kind of crab man. Yeah, you know, the way it was climbing up and around the ceiling, like a crab.
It was stalking a cell.
Odd. Crabs are usually marine creatures, and not known for climbing walls.
Crab man!
Yeah, totally. I mean, I didn't personally see it. Estelle was alone that time, but I believe her. If she comes out running and says there's a crab in there, there's a crab in there.
You should ask her about it.
There probably is no crab man.
Sure. What? As always...
Wow, so someone's been a little boring. Yes, my standard liege. Someone's seen all sorts of wild ideas pop off and thought, I'll take the boring one. The regular, please. The brown. No need to be defensive. Of course you do. Let's get right to it. My lord's copper type is regular cop. I'll let everyone know. I'll send out a telefax. Good. Of course. To...
Yes?
The shaggy-haired girl.
So you talked to my associates, right? Are you going to help us? Shoot. Oh, that. You're not going to...
She's less prone to blurt it out, crab man, than the others.
Okay. I went in and I saw a woman next to one of those machines there. She was dressed like someone who's been raised by their grandmother, you know, strange old clothes. Had this absent expression, didn't say anything, just stood still. And then, you know, right behind her, a man crawled down the wall. Upside down like a crab, down the church wall. I think the woman didn't even know he was there. He stopped right before he got to the floor, then just hung there like that.
Like a crab, you say?
It was too dark.
Come on, she obviously could. She already went into detail.
He looked like a banger, okay? He was all muscular and stuff. Had a mesh tank top. I know it sounds ridiculous, but...
A crab and a banger?
Yes, a banger. As in a mess gang member. I know what it sounds like, but I don't blame you. I mean, I wouldn't believe me either. I'm surprised Noid did.
Heavy wooden doors, with the lock turned.
Let's go.
A great whoosh of air right in the heart of the... The silence in this part of the church, it's almost palpable. All the shifting matter and shuffling of living things. Maybe if you were to stand in just the right spot, even your footsteps would be and then it's gone. It seems the sound here is detached from its source somehow. If not blotted out, you can hardly hear your own breathing. You produce a few muffled thumps, after which the silence feels even more. Your voice is barely audible. Not a howl, but the lieutenant points to his ears and shakes his head.
Can you hear anything? I wonder why the church was built with such strange acoustics.
Maybe the church was designed this way to prevent boisterous activity, singing and dancing on it. He doesn't seem entirely convinced. The orderly rows of ceiling panels become barely visible, then disappear completely. Just darkness without end. It makes your head spin. You see something hanging from the rafters, looking straight at you with dark eyes. Maybe it's possible to talk. Is that a man? Looks more like part of the carpentry of the building came alive. The crab man. The man leaned forward a little, fixing you with a steady, unreadable gaze.
Habitual alcohol use has made you into a scared little pussy, Holmes. But don't worry. Everything's gonna be alright. You come to the right place.
That accent is Villalobos, a peninsula in Mesk and a district in Jamrock. There's a sizable contingent of Villalobos speaking.
Here you can receive the mother's love. And when you're ready, she will take your hand and lift you out of the despair at the bottom of that bottle.
This man is obviously a habitual narcotics user. Do we really need to...
Hey, and what was that about, the bottle again? You haven't even drank that much lately. Lay off it already. Shish.
Oh yeah, sure. You don't know anything about alcohol use. You got it all under control, Way. I could smell the control all the way over here. I know it's hard to admit that you have a problem. I was like you once. Couldn't take an honest look at the damage Albino was doing to my mind and my spirit.
You know, actually, since we're here, you may want to pay attention to what the ceiling climber is saying.
The only thing we need to talk about is how the mother can really help you, Holmes. This is the Church of the Mother of Silence. You are welcome here.
You have no idea what the fuck he's... Whatever it is, he's quite confident about. 'Tis not an act, my liege. Save him perchance, he hath deceived his very self. This man is a zealot.
Other spooker? Oh, esa viejita es muy estudiosa.
Viejita is Grandma?
No, I just call her viejita because of her clothes. She's actually quite young. Or maybe not that young. Age is just one of the many masks we wear. That's what I said, Holmes. Don't really follow her comings and goings. Just see her typing on her computer now and then. We got different interests. I'm afraid not, Ese. You just have to wait until she comes back, or
search through her radio computer.
Never known myself to be a crab. But if that's the name you got for me, I won't stop you from using it. I always thought of myself more like a flame, flickering along the rafters and beams. It may be that I gotta work on my technique.
That's not the only technique he's working on. Look at those carved sculptures. And is that...
Sure am. Whittling wood used to be something I just did to busy my hands. Now I use those same hands in service of something greater than my own restlessness. It's all just for the mother, man. No need to overthink it. I was in a gang way, but my memories of that time are fading. Most of them are already gone. No, man. You gotta let that shit go. Then the mother's light touch will fill you with rapture.
Do you remember your names?
Tiago's my name. But those syllables don't mean much to me these days. A name isn't just your identity. Your place amongst your fellows. Your place in the world. I ain't got no use for such a place anymore. Don't think I met one yet, Holmes.
That was him suppressing the chuckle.
The ones in the tent outside? Right? I see them. Guessing they're the ones who call me a crab. Probably scared of me. Nah, man. They look pretty funny. And I don't harm no one anymore. Anyway. Why not? They wouldn't bother me none. I'm usually way up there, imbibing. Ain't no music on earth that can reach where I go. Might even be nice to have some company. This is a special place. There's a perforation in the world up there. A way out into nothingness. This church was built around it for purposes of veneration. I circled it, nurtured by the silence bestowed by the mother. One of these days, I'll be pure enough to go drink from it directly. I will be incinerated, but not destroyed. Finally, I won with the state of the world before reality began.
That sounds a bit like substitution behavior, no?
Oh, that's no simple question, Ese. She is one who can be painted or sculpted. She is a cavity in the dark beyond sense. She saved me. but I couldn't describe her to you. No one can, Holmes. And no one ever will. Hard to say. I think I did some construction work here, back when I still had material worries. Up there, I realized what the true purpose of the church was. Been spending a lot of time here ever since. The past is nothing to me now, eh? It's not like that at all, man.
Too gleeful, those words. He is lying. Not to you, to his very own self.
I know it will take time. Don't sweat it. I know it will take time. I'm a seraph, Holmes. I sing the Mother's glory. I don't mean literal singing, Holmes. This is the mother of silence we're talking about. You may be thinking, but fire...
The sinewy figure lingers on the wooden...
Police raid a while back.
Did you witness it?
Not really. Or at least I don't remember much of it anymore. The mother's love has done its job.
A machine stands in the corner, watched over by the figures on the stained glass.
Another radio computer. And this time it's already turned on. We should leave. I doubt this place bears any connection to the case. It's also quite similar to the one we have down at the station. Must be the same model.
The one you saw earlier was the Ream Civic. This is the Ream Prefect, a model number RC7024. Equipped with the Ream Prefect is the governmental version. You see fluorescent play and print buttons on the keyboard. A hatch connected to the central compartment. The lieutenant says nothing. You see the machine's glowing frame reflected back from his diamond-shaped glasses. Behind the hatch sits a cube-like crisscross of filaments, smoldering in the dark like fireflies. Another filament memory. Press play to talk with the repeater. The speaker comes to life. Static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver.
Good afternoon, Fortress Accident on Saint-Brune. This is the East Insulindian Repeater Station 1.
It's the same old woman you spoke with through the radio computer in the doomed commercial area.
Good. Please...
Let's look around. Maybe he knows something.
Received. I will register this login attempt. Fortress Accident, is there anything else I can do for you today? Goodbye, Fortress Accident.
The machine's keyboard is still in white. Humanism stands above you. A crack runs across her body. She is impossibly tall, oval-faced and sad. This is her innocence, Dolores Day. Cradled in her arms are a pair of glowing lungs, clearly visible from underneath her flowing dress. You should kneel. Your knees touch the floor. The floorboards are hard and cold. There you kneel among the snowdrifts, diffuse light falling on your hands. The woman looks down at you kneeling. She towers among her followers, architects, laymen, courtiers. There is a sad smile on her lips and a glint in her green-blue eye of what? Compassion? Remorse? She acknowledges the passing of someone who is still alive. As that terrible word passes through your mind, the lieutenant draws an X. Your fingertips touch your chest 4 times. Then you rise from your knees into the apricot-colored light of the window. Above you, the woman still smiles her distant smile, sundered by the crack. Despite the damage you've done to yourself, the title appears lodged in your hippocampus. This is her innocence, Dolores Day. No amount of Commodore Red can wipe her sad smile from your brain thing. It has survived the deluge and haunts you still. And will terrifying is a term too emotionally charged for your semantic memory. Although she's often considered to be the greatest human being to ever live, there was something ominous about Dolores Day. She was the most socially secluded and least self-aware of all the innocences. Some modern thinkers would consider her a war criminal for the campaigns she waged against the Mesk state. And then there were the resettlement. The Mesk state tried to detach itself from innocentic rule. Parts of the world were experiencing whiplash from accelerating into secularism. Her mandatory education programs and mass resettlement of upstream Marguerite were problematic as well. Dissenters were suppressed by a military force, suggesting those who fight against it are not part of humanity. She adored chess, yes, but also military war games. Dolores Day often holds a tiny tin soldier between her index finger and thumb in icons such as this. She was also blonde, the blondest woman you have ever seen, with green eyes the color of the Pacentic. Mare interregnum. Little is known of her Marchese husband. It's as if he vanished from history after completing his role. This subtle terror is part of her iconography.
Lieutenant Yefreiter, you've stood there for over 5 minutes. What are you thinking of, if I may ask? Yes, glowing lungs are quite unusual. After that one time, they have not been reported to glow. You know, this church, the coast, we shouldn't linger. Finish what you came here to do and let's move on. This isn't a good place to get lost in.
A jigsaw of broken shards falls into place in front of you. A ghost motor carriage, a gunshot, someone falling into it, or maybe just hooligans looking for something to break. The escutcheon on her throne says, Irene the Navigator. She is depicted as an older woman wearing thick-rimmed eyeglasses, holding a golden Reichsapfel in one hand and a scepter in the other. This is the queen her innocence Day advised. Above, she herself is whole. Small figures of wise men, common. Below both women, in luminous black letters, Après la vie, mort. Après la mort, la vie de nouveau. And then, along the left side, Après le monde, La gré. Après le gré. Le monde est nouveau. After life, death. After death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This is the great leitmotif of humanism, a summary of the effect of the discovery of this isola, the Insulindian, on human thinking. A tremendous sea change akin to finding life after death.
Death, life again. This exaltation is common in Dolorian sacralism. In the early years, it was even incorporated as the RCM slogan: justice, union, prudence, and force. Not at all.
The mother of humanism.
The old woman in the village was right. This must be the Dolorian Church of Humanity in Martinez. Or it's a minor landmark, not easy to find. Most maps misplace it. It was built not long after Revachol's founding.
On the coast of an uninhabited archipelago.
There used to be 7 stave churches on the coast. Les Sept Sœurs, they call them. The 7 Sisters. Only one remains. The rest were burnt in the revolution, or we should be respectful here, although the building appears to be deserted. I do not believe we'll find anything connected to the lynching here.
Respectful? Is the lieutenant a follower of...
Yes, we all are. Her name, body, and rule are synonymous with humanism. The laws we enforce are Dolorian in origin.
The woman looks by in silence, smiling, and
It's not spiritual, it's constitutional. The Dolorian system does not demand faith, only accord.
Our tenant, the policeman. I hope the wave, I can wash it for you. But it's going to take about a half an hour.
Hell yeah.
I could use a breather. It's been another track and field day.
Well, hand it over then, and I'll see what I can do. Must say, I'm proud of this one. It's pretty nice underneath all that filth. I hope you'll have an easier life in your hands.